Okay, everybody, welcome back to DSP versus the Internet, episode 68. We are still in Ultra member submissions. We're still early on in the show. So let's continue on and see what else the Ultra members wanted us to watch this week. Remember, Ultra members are guaranteed to get their clips watched once a week. Here we go. What is this?
About 43,000 international travelers fly into New York's John F. Kennedy Airport every day. By passenger volume, it's the U.S.'s largest international airport of entry. And in just Terminal 4 alone, that equates to almost 1,000 bags an hour. And
I think on the entire east coast of the United States, JFK, which is this airport, is the one that gets almost the most international flights of any other airport. Much like here on the west coast, my airport, SeaTac, Seattle-Tacoma Airport, is the biggest for international on the west coast. So that's why they're so big.
Those suitcases, there's a lot of stuff, some of which isn't allowed into the country, including 120 pounds of food per day.
Oh my God.
What happens to all those confiscated items anyway?
Why? I mean, honestly, why would you fly fruits, veggies, and things like this into the country? You know it's not allowed, and it's not going to get through. What's the point? And what's the point? Like, you could get a lot of this here anyway, so why are you trying to fly this in? It's weird.
If you flew into JFK in the 90s, getting something into the US was a lot easier. But after 9/11, a conversation started about how to protect the country from dangerous foods, drugs, and people. And US Customs and Border Protection, as it's known today, was formed. You'll generally see two kinds of CBP officials at airports: officers like Steve and agriculture specialists like Ginger. Their job is to find, seize, and destroy millions of items each year that don't belong in the United States. It's a big job, and sometimes it requires a sidekick. A sidekick on 4 legs.
This is K9 Spike. Look, Spike. He is a 8-year-old Belgian Malinois. I've been his only handler from day one. He's trained in narcotics. During the duration of our career, probably seized over 400 different seizures.
CBP officials like Steve identify high-risk individuals trying to enter into the U.S., as well as drugs and firearms. And because these are such high stakes, dogs like Spike are trained in a special way, in what's called passive response, meaning if they sniff out drugs, they don't scratch, they don't bark, and they don't make a scene. They sit.
They just sit
and
there.
If they're right, the dog gets rewarded.
His reward is actually this toy right here. So he likes to play. So, ain't that right? You like to play. You like to play. Yes, you do. Yes, you do. Let me see it. Let me see it. Here at the port, we've caught up to 16 keys of ecstasy recently.
Wow.
Narcotics are then seized and sent to be incinerated. The incinerator's location is kept a secret as a matter of national security. Now, pretty much everyone knows that narcotics aren't allowed through U.S. borders, but actually drugs aren't the most commonly seized item at JFK. Food is. When a regular traveler arrives in the U.S., they're required to declare any food items they're bringing in, or face up to a $1,000 fine for the first offense. These items aren't taken because agents want to eat your yummy Spanish ham or Caribbean mangoes. It's because agents are responsible for protecting American agriculture from any foreign pests or diseases that could affect our livestock or crops. And that's where agricultural specialists like Ginger come in.
Everything gets destroyed.
Yeah, because Game Boy in the chat just said, well, why do they care? Well, for example, what if you're bringing a crop into this country that's infested with a bug, right? Well, guess what? That bug's not supposed to be in the United States. And if it does get here, all of a sudden, maybe we're not equipped to handle it. And it just goes like wildfire, starts spreading throughout all our trees and all our agriculture. And now next thing you know, you got an infestation of bugs that don't belong here. And I see news stories like this here in the Pacific Northwest. Oh God, there's an intrusive species of this bug that's not supposed to be here and somehow got here and now it could affect everything. So yeah, I mean, it's not going to be like world ending, but certainly it could cause intrusiveness of something like that. No, if someone brings Spanish ham in, right, is it going to destroy the world? Of course not. But you got to be careful about that other kind of stuff. You know what I mean? Okay.
To protect against that pest risk, we are protecting the country's agricultural interests. We're protecting against bioterrorism, where someone could intentionally try to bring in items to wreak havoc in this country.
Foreign bugs hitchhiking in luggage have wreaked havoc in the US before,
Ah,
Florida's orange and grapefruit growers lost $2.9 billion from 2007 to 2014,
wow.
thanks to the Asian citrus psyllid.
Wow.
And since being introduced into the US in the 90s, the Asian longhorn beetle has ravaged hardwood trees. Eradication efforts between 1997 and 2010 cost more than $373 million.
In our country, we go into the grocery store and the food is always there. We don't have to look at it for holes or check if it's got some disease on it. It always looks great. So we get kind of spoiled, and we don't really understand the importance of protecting that.
So it's crucial that even a single stowaway orange is found and confiscated. But with 34 million annual international passengers to and from JFK, going through each of those bags can seem pretty impossible. For humans, that is. Luckily, they've got
That's
a
what the
little
dogs
help
are for.
from the
Cool.
Beagle Brigade. This
The
four-legged
Beagles.
officer is Biscuit. Unlike Spike, Biscuit is trained in passive response. But Biscuit's trained to sniff out food, rather than drugs.
They
Ah.
actually learn. They start out with 5 target holders, and then over the years he'll expand, and they retire with sometimes like 150 holders that they know.
And Biscuit's pretty good at sniffing. These beagles have an estimated 90% accuracy rate.
Yeah,
Watching
beagles have
your
great
dog
noses,
sip on
supposedly.
3 grapes in a Samsonite hard-side suitcase is just incredible. Scientists say their nose is 1,000 times stronger than ours, and they prove it every single day.
Once Biscuit sniffs out an item, the passenger in question and their bags go to Ginger, who will x-ray and search the luggage.
Okay, these are both your bags, correct? Okay. Did you pack everything yourselves? You pack your bags yourself? Okay.
Ginger unzips the bag and searches each one by hand.
Ah,
And if she finds something that's not allowed,
got it.
it's seized and held in temporary bins.
Food
This is
in
very
bottles.
common from that region. Once you open it all up, you have grape leaves. These are horse meat sausages. This is another very good example of what we get very frequently, especially in the springtime. This is a plant that they're planning on bringing here to grow. So anything for propagation has additional in-tray requirements.
Wow.
So this is 2 families worth
Wow.
from one flight.
Look at all that food.
JFK disposes of the contraband food
Oh my
in one
God.
of 2 ways, the grinder or the incinerator. Ginger will bag up the seized items and label them based on their final destination.
So we're gonna go walk this bin, nice and full from those 2 passengers, down to our contraband room.
Wow.
This is
And then they freaking get fined thousands of dollars. Right? She says you give a fine up to $1,000 for that. All right. Well, that was fascinating. Something completely different, right? All right. Let's go on to the next one. What is this? Are you a fool? What?
You don't listen, then I
You handle your babies by the legs.
sing them.
This interview was hilarious.
I was suddenly transformed.
Asking tribal elders life's big questions. All right. We probably won't watch the whole thing. Let's see what happens here.
More handsome.
And at the end, PC asks me a few questions as well.
Why do you make yourself very flowery?
Grab your paper and pencils, because Mpisi from the Ndebele tribe is about to drop some knowledge.
That's a problem.
Hey, welcome to.
He speaks
rural
really good
Zimbabwe.
English.
And near Zambia, actually. And we're gonna meet a man named Mpisi. He's a local medicine man, and also, we've heard, is a character. We're here to ask him some questions. We are rolling. Beep. We good to go? Mr. Mpisi, we're all the way out here in Zimbabwe. In what's the name of this village?
Kompisi village.
Kompisi village. So I've got some questions. So I've got a YouTube page, like on the internet,
Okay.
with many followers, and I'm wondering if you could give any advice. What would you say?
Try to acquire good skills of survival, not depending on the outside world or on the civilized world, which make them handicapped. Then they don't think, they count with gadgets and forget the indigenous knowledge.
What's wrong with the civilized world?
They make you stupid. They control you. That knowledge doesn't work practically. Learn those skills to produce your own food and learn good medicine, which makes you healthy and young always.
I like your attitude.
If you don't listen, then I
If I'm
make
on my
it-
gadgets too much, I I get.
So that leave them, so that you make some ways of surviving.
Mpisi, you were full of zest. It's full of fire. If you don't mind me asking, how old are you?
79 years.
You're 79 years old.
12 February.
What's the secret?
Wow.
How do you stay 79 and still say?
Good food, organic food, always happy, no problems.
You grow your own food, right?
Corn, soccer, millet, pumpkins, watermelons, peanuts, and beans. That's what we produce. And we feed those who live in cities.
Yeah.
Who can't work.
What do you think of city food?
A lot of chemicals. I don't like them.
Yeah. You're anti-chemicals.
I am a natural.
Out here, there's no chemicals.
No. I don't like you people to use chemicals. We use natural food,
Yeah.
which heals. Can I tell you?
Yeah.
This is produced by chemicals.
It is. It's very true.
You are putting chemicals in your body. When you say it, you don't care what is happening. You are saying, I'm wearing a good shirt.
Yeah.
That's a problem. That you are practicing witchcraft on your body yourself with your money. So people don't think about that.
Mpisi, but they tell me it's breathable and it's got air-wicking pockets and it's sweat-proof.
What about this?
I mean, that's just gazelle, right? That's just one gazelle skin. And this is a truck tire, right? From a
Look,
rubber from
air.
a truck.
Good
Yeah,
air.
but this is chemicals.
No, look. We know how to treat this in order not to be chemicals. That's why it's wearing off. First of all, we boil with salt.
You boil this with salt.
With salt.
Why?
To neutralize those chemicals in here.
No.
Really nasty chemicals.
That's
I
what
see.
we like.
Okay. What are some other things you do to help the body? Let's say.
I eat a lot of herbs.
Eat a lot of herbs.
Herbs. Yes. I know anti-aging herbs, whatever you need for bodies. That's my life. Remember, in our African region, we used nature. We depend.
What I'm really curious about here is how did he learn English so well, right? If he really is indigenous, how on earth did he learn the English language so darn well? Because he's very good, right? And you could tell it's not. There's people who speak English, but you could tell half the time they don't fully understand what they're trying to say. This guy he's smart. He is on it. You know what I mean? Like he knows he is sharp as a fucking knife. So how did he do that if he's an indigenous guy living out in the wild, growing all his crops and everything, right? So I don't know. Questionable, but I don't know. I'm curious, right? I don't know. I want to fast forward a little bit because we're not going to watch this whole thing. Fast forward, it's like the middle. Oh, look, let's look at the peak. This is the peak right here. Yeah, most replayed. Let's watch it from here. Let's see why this was most replayed.
The questions. So we sit down again to flip the interview around. This time, he'll be asking me the questions.
Okay.
First, how you can travel with me.
I have created something and I am stoked. More stoked than when we found that crocodile in the jungles of Congo. I got to trade it for a bed of the Pygmy tribe. That was awesome. But this is equally as awesome. It's called Tribal Rights. It's a one-week adventure travel retreat that I made as the thing that
This is an ad. Wait a minute. This is an ad. Why would this be the most viewed part of the video? He's advertising something.
I had 15 years ago when I was lost and confused and stuck and didn't know how to start adventures. People always assume I lived this adventurous life my entire life. No. False. For most of my life, I was afraid to do this exact thing right now. Speak on camera as well.
So yeah, this is an ad. I'm gonna skip it. The most viewed part, most replayed, is a fucking ad. Let's get out of the ad and go to the content.
Just like this. Back to the show.
Boom. Now the questions are going to get hard. Okay. You've got some fur. I've got some fur.
Judd Clump says the most watched part is from people actually skipping the ad. So they're looking for the end of the ad. They're all in that part, and then when they get, I see what you're saying. Okay.
Do you have one?
A hat like that one? No, I don't have one. Do you have any extras?
Yeah.
Maybe you can trade. We can trade hats.
I don't wear caps. This is the plastic cap.
Too many chemicals. What? All right, hold on.
Ah, look how handsome he is.
I've suddenly transformed more handsome. How do I look? Do I look good? Wonderful. And PCs, you're a very wise man, by the way.
Oh, thank you for that.
One thing I wanted to ask is, do you have any questions for me? What is your
first thing?
Yeah.
Why do you make yourself very flowery?
Yeah, look. All his tattoos are flowers and shit.
You're flowery. Man, or is it for attraction or what?
It's a really funny question. The interesting is, I don't even know if people understand why they get tattoos. Like for me, I think it's a mixture of a few things. This is 25 hours, 20 hours, this is 10 hours, right? Of pain all of the time. So I think for some people, we get these subconsciously, like in our brain, without knowing, to go through something tough.
Painful.
I think so.
You get a tattoo to force yourself to go through something tough. If that's the case, you don't have much adversity in your life. If you're paying someone to cause you pain, to say, I went through something tough, you have an easy fucking life. Maybe that's what it is. Maybe people who get these insane tattoos are just like coddled people. That's the dumbest explanation I've ever heard to get a tattoo. I have a lot of stresses in my life, okay, from various different sources. There's things you guys know about. There's things you have absolutely no idea about. I have enough stress in my life. I don't need to go to a tattoo parlor to pay someone to give me 10 hours of pain on my arm to say I went through 10 hours of pain. I don't need to prove anything to anyone that I'm some kind of a badass. In fact, if you told me the reason I went to a tattoo parlor, I went through 20 hours of pain is because to say I went through it, I would say you're a fucking idiot. You're actually one of the dumbest people I've ever spoken with. Wow, you're stupid. You must have the easiest, most marshmallow-coated life ever of anyone to say you need to cause pain, and now you think you're like some kind of a badass or something. That's the dumbest thing I've ever heard of. Wow. Okay, then.
I think that human beings need challenge. They need pain. They need something. They need a bit of suffering to be able to become their full self.
Yes.
Maybe people have it too easy.
Pain is two ways.
Yeah, you have it too easy.
Or wrong. Every young man, when they grow, they should feel pains.
Sure, I agree.
You could even use a knob carry, a big one like this.
Like this.
It should not pain you. Now, culturally, when you look at pain, you can be angry that you can do something evil. But if you pass through pains, you stop there. Say, I've dealt with that. That's my victory, through pains. But pains, they can mold you to be what you are in future through those. You start the pain. It's a matter of ladder of life. For where you are from to the next life, where you need to go through.
I think when he's saying pain, he doesn't actually just mean physical pain. He's actually talking about suffering, strife, adversity, and overcoming that. Because if you're someone, again, who's coddled your whole life, you face absolutely no adversity, no challenges, no suffering. You're not learning. You're not getting experience. You don't actually know what it's like to be out there in the real world. And people are now going through life like that. And then when they hit the real world, well, oh, I can't survive anymore. How many people are saying that they're living with their parents endlessly? They'll never move out, right? It seems like more and more our current generation is having this issue. They never lived. They never went through suffering or challenge, and they never overcame anything. They were just protected their whole goddamn lives, and now they can't be functional adults, right? So I think that's exactly what he's saying. You have to go through pain. There's two kinds. There's pain that you live, you go through, you learn, and you become a better person. There's also pain that's just for suffering purposes, and that's not good. So I kind of get what he's saying. I like that.
You can need the pains so that you can, certain circumstances, you pass through them if you have got pain. In our culture, even babies, they handle them with legs like this.
You handle your babies by the legs.
Swing them as if like you are dropping them. They should learn how to differentiate a pain and fear.
I think trust is something in there that's very important too, right?
Yes.
Because if you don't have trust, then the pain and fear is much bigger. But if you learn that, yeah, so sometimes controlled pain can be a good way to build strength.
You learn
right?
how to control pain and fear. That's what is very essential in life. That's why I was asking you, if you have this painful, you can stand wherever in life because the pains which happened in your body, they are more than what you have.
So go through more pain so you become more resilient, we say.
More resilience.
Wise words. Okay, what's the next question
The next question is,
for me?
Why coming enjoying the world, trying to document the world?
Why do I try to document the world? A lot of things in this world are misunderstood. People say snakes are slimy. They're dangerous, right? These false ideas of how dangerous the world is. And I started traveling because when I was young, I realized that all that's not true. And the more I traveled, the more I learned that it was all fake. It's all lies told by people who don't know any better. And so now it's my passion, my mission to go to places, countries, meet people. So I love coming to places like this to learn myself, but also mostly teach by doing, by showing, by meeting how beautiful and safe and interesting the world is. And then once you understand the world's not as dangerous as you think it is, it allows.
I like how he had to play this dramatic music in the background as he said this. Because, listen, I understand what he's coming from, but you also have to understand the only reason that you're doing this is because you came from a position of privilege to do it. Most people don't have the freedom to just travel the world and document their travels on YouTube because they have unlimited funds and a production crew to do it. You're very lucky. So good for you that you're doing that, and it's a nice mission. But at the same time, I feel like it's a little disingenuous that this is how he ends his video, is the question to him that he's the hero of this, and he has dramatic music playing behind him as he gives his answer, right? And it's kind of ridiculous.
Allows you to be more free.
Now you are passing to leave a pyramid of good history in this world before you go, so that they understand. Think wisely to connect to themselves.
The world needs to be more connected.
You are not doing it for yourself, for your country, but for the world, for everybody.
That's the plan. The chicken has a question. Well, Mr. MPC, you've got a lot of people watching right now. Anything to say to the world?
Thank you. Please, let's be responsible. Live in harmony with nature. Nature always loves us, but we do wrong things. We destroy, we chemicalize, we deplete. One thing, we don't want to apologize to wrong things. We do it to nature. Remember those who read the scripture, God said man should care for nature. We should also care for nature. Here's an instruction for God who live in harmony with God.
I'm going to be honest right now. What he just said very much bothers me, because that means that basically missionaries, probably Catholic missionaries, went out here and turned everyone in Africa Catholic. That's not supposed to be their native religion. Why did they do that? That pisses me off. Because it's like, we live off the land. We all these natural things. Oh, by the way, we all practice Catholicism. What? That's what? That actually legit bothers me. It does. Because I don't like that. I don't like that people felt like they should go to their country and impose something on them and tell them that was the right way. That pisses me off. This is Zimbabwe, by the way. So yeah, that really pisses me off. All right. Well, anyway, that's true. Baldock says that's also probably why he knows English so well. You're right. Because these missionaries came over. Oh, this is the way of life. You must practice Catholicism or Christianity. And, you know, they probably taught him all this shit. But that's messed up. You know. Zimbabwe is next to South Africa? Okay, I didn't know that. Anyway, all right. Good videos. Let's split the part now. It makes sense to split the part now rather than continue on with another video in this one now. So thank you for watching DSP versus the Internet. Hope you're enjoying. I'll see you in part 3 for the week.